What's the Meta AI game plan and kind of how does it fit into the market?
Yeah, so what I'd say is that the biggest way that our approach here is different from all the other companies is you see a lot of other companies trying to build like one main AI that you're going to interact with, right? Whether it's Gemini for Google or ChatGPT for OpenAI. And I mean, our view, I mean, we'll also have a basic assistant Meta AI that people can use, but our overall view is that this isn't the type of thing where there should just be one of. Or we think people want to interact with lots of different people and businesses, and there need to be a lot of different AIs that get created to reflect people's different interests. So a big part of the approach is going to be enabling every creator, and then eventually also every small business on the platform, to create an AI for themselves to help them interact with their community and their customers if they're a business. And if you look at the kind of broader arc of human history, more people are just getting the chance to pursue their own creativity and their own interests, and not having to do as many jobs that they might find mundane or just doing to work, but basically are getting to do things that they really enjoy. And I think a lot of the arc of technology is enabling that, both by increasing productivity for the other tasks and just giving people all kinds of new tools. So this is definitely going to be part of what happens here. Is basically we want to build more tools that just enable more people, including people who don't consider themselves creators today, because I think everyone is creative in some way, and everyone. I just look at my kids like trying to, it's like they're not creators, but I mean they're definitely just like playing with their Legos, creating all kinds of different stuff. It's cool. It's the old Picasso quote: "All children are artists. The challenge is how to remain one when you grow up." Right? If you look at Instagram, DMs is one of the fastest growing parts of the system. That's part of what I'm excited about here with Creator Studio in AI Studio. Is basically we're making it so that people are going to be able to kind of craft a persona for an AI version of themselves that's going to help them interact with all the incoming DMs that your community is sending you. And it's like the classic problem of there's just not enough hours in the day, right? I think every creator would want to engage with every fan who's reaching out to them, but you just don't have time. I think there's this whole question of how good are the AI agents that creators create for themselves going to be. And I think that's going to be an art form by itself that kind of grows and evolves over time, and it's going to get better and better. But I think for a lot of people, knowing that they're engaging with something that the creator created and had a hand in doing is going to be pretty meaningful. It may not be as good as interacting with the person themselves, but for a lot of people, that's not available because there's just not enough hours in the day for the creator to respond. So the other one that I'd say is growing really quickly is just Reels and video, short form video. There's just been this pretty amazing trend where, you go from, movies and longer form TV shows. There was a time when people thought of YouTube as short form because people were comparing it to TVs and movie. But today, compared to real short form video, a lot of YouTube videos feel kind of long. And I think that is probably just going to continue because people are getting the tools to create really compelling content and get it to be super tight and crisp. And I think that the rate of kind of development of those tools is going to continue. And I think that people are going to be able to have use AI for creating video and editing, and there will still be a ton of creativity in that whole process because you'll have to kind of hone what you're building and shape it like a sculpture. But I think fundamentally it's going to be accessible, and the quality of the content is going to go up as it just gets, people can play around with a lot more different ideas.
I want to get into AI Studio on the tool side. So today it's essentially the foundational building block. The way I look at it is the foundational building blocks for how creators are going to interact with AI within Meta's world.
So one is just the development of Llama, the underlying model, and the tuning of that as we get feedback. So that's kind of something that's happening underneath the hood. That's kind of the core infrastructure. Then on top of that, there's all the product experience and tools that we're creating that allow people to create these different AIs. So whether it's a creator creating an AI agent version of themselves to interact with their community, at some point we're also rolling out people the ability for anyone to create UGC AI, right? So it doesn't necessarily need to be you. It could just be a new kind of virtual persona that you create that you want to exist on Instagram and the apps and interact with people. And then you probably won't get into this as much today, but on the business side, there are as many small businesses, if not more, than as there are creators today. I think that's a huge opportunity It should be super simple for any business to just press a few buttons, get an agent version of themselves that can help do customer support and e-commerce support. And so the process of how these things get trained, I mean, there's obviously there's the base llama model, but then creators, when they're setting up these AIs, have the opportunity to pull in all kinds of information from their social media presence and whatever else they want to train into the system. So like you said, for the fact-based stuff, I think that's relatively clearer to instrument and understand when we're getting it right and when we're not. On the opinion side, I think that that's going to end up being more, the creators are going to have a lot more opinion around what they want the AI to express for them. And to your point about people knowing that they're interacting with an AI, that's a core design principle for us. I mean, we're not trying to create these AIs and kind of have people think that they're interacting with the creator themselves. And we want it to be as high fidelity to the creator as the creator wants, but it will also be very clearly labeled as an AI so that there shouldn't be any confusion around that. Yes, I think being able to automatically do translation and dubbing is something I'm pretty excited about for the future. I think people who speak English often lose track of the fact that a lot of the world doesn't speak English, and I think being able to automatically have all your content in all these different languages and accessible to way more people is going to be really powerful if that can feel authentic and like you're speaking that language. For AI Studio itself, I think it's going to be this continual evolution of how do you give the creator more tools to tune the experience so it gets to be more entertaining and trust building, like you're saying. There will also be a part of this, which I think is just adding different modes, right? So, starting with text, I think over time, having video, having audio, eventually having it be able to be kind of 3D, so that way you could be embodied, whether, someone is wearing AR glasses and you can just show up as a hologram in their living room, that in the future, there are going to be way more creative jobs than there are today, right? And I think you can just look at the arc of humanity and the fact that it's like we all, most people used to be farmers, and now we don't have to do that. It's like people can pursue more creative things. So, as technology evolves, the tools that we use will evolve too, and part of just being a talented person on the edge with all this is just staying up to date with the tools. But fundamentally, I think that there are going to be a lot more creative opportunities in the future with more powerful tools that allow people to do that. This idea that, some people are saying that there's going to be like the one true big AI that can do everything. And I just don't think that that's the way that things tend to go. And I get why, if you're like in some AI lab and, you want to feel like what you're doing is super important, right? And then it's okay. Yeah, it's like we're building the one true thing for the future. But I just think like realistically, that's not how stuff works, right? It's not like there was one app on people's phones that people use. There's not kind of one creator that people want all their content from. There's not one app that people want all their content from. There's not one business that people want to buy everything from. People value diversity, and I think that that's a lot of what creates sort of richness, and the feeling that we're learning and progressing in life is getting to experience different kinds of things. That's partially why I believe so much in open source, right? Because I don't think that AI technology is a thing that should be kind of hoarded and kind of kept, that like one company gets to use it to build whatever central single product that they're building.
As a product builder, I'm really curious what else you think needs to be in the Ray-Ban Metas or the smart glass, whatever the iteration is. What else needs to be in there for billions of people to prefer using glasses over the mobile phone as like the primary hardware device?
If you'd asked me that a few years ago, or even maybe a year and a half ago, I would have said that we needed to get to the point where we had full holographic AR before this would be the main platform that people would use. And we're working on that. With the Ray-Ban Metas, we looked at it and said, okay, if you just take the best form factor for glasses today, how much technology can we pack in there without compromising the form factor, the weight, things like that? And that's what we got with Ray-Ban Meta. But then we were also coming at it from the other perspective and saying, okay, we want to create full holographic AR. It still needs to be glasses, right? It's not a headset, it's glasses, but maybe it's like a little thicker frames because there's a lot more technology that you're packing in there. It's not like the prototype version that we have that I'm really excited that we're getting closer to showing. It's not like the most stylish thing, but it's good. It's unmistakably glasses, right? It's not a headset. So I think over time, these two paths will just sort of converge. And I guess I would have thought previously that we needed the full holograms for presence, but AI has made such big leaps that I think that is making it so that even something that's a simpler product will have more appeal sooner. I think that there are basically going to be 3 different products. There's going to be kind of the displayless glasses that just do AI and can capture content, and you can listen to audiobooks and music and take phone calls and all that. Then I think that there's going to be another step up where it's not going to be full holographic display in the sense that it's not going to be like your full field of view as a hologram. But I think you'll get maybe like a little bit of a heads up display. And I think that that's going to create a bunch of interesting use cases too. You'll be able to get notifications. You'll be able to message with people. You'll be able to message with AI, answer any questions, and not just have it speak to you, but also be able to kind of see, which is higher bandwidth. So that's going to be exciting. A lot of uses for a small screen, even if it's just a kind of a small heads-up display. And then I think there's going to be the most premium version, which is kind of the full field of view, which is, we're having this conversation in the future, and like I'm a hologram sitting on your living room couch, or you're here with me, and it's not just a video call. It's not just like there's a screen and you're there as a hologram. I mean, we'd be able to interact, right? So like you want to play cards, it's like, okay, here, we get a deck of cards, it's a hologram, we're interacting. The neural wristband, neural interface wristband. When people hear neural interface, I think that the first instinct is like, oh, it must like get wired into your brain or something. But I think most people are not going to want something wired into their brain.
Agreed.
But your brain sends signals to your body through your nervous system, right? That's like how you fire all your muscles. And it turns out that there's a lot of different pathways that aren't used in normal operation of your body. So you can have a wristband that basically gets trained to pick up different signals and pathways of your brain communicating to move your hand in different ways than you would normally do. And eventually you get to the point where you can basically communicate with this neural interface without even really moving your hand very much in a visible way to other people. So it'll start off with kind of some simpler motions, but over the coming years, you're going to be able to type with it, do all kinds of stuff. Control a cursor. And I actually find even when I'm sitting at my desk, I do a lot of stuff on my phone that I would have used to have done on my computer like 10 or 15 years ago. And I think that's going to happen with glasses too. It's not like we're going to stop having a phone. It's just that it's going to stay in your pocket more, right? And you'll take it out when you really need to do stuff with it. But more and more, I think people will just start saying, hey, I can take this photo with my glasses. I can ask this question to AI, or I can send someone a message, and it's just a lot easier with glasses. And I wouldn't be surprised if 10 years from now, we'll probably still have phones, but it's probably going to be much more intentional usage as opposed to just reflexively reaching for it and grabbing it for any technological thing that you want to do.
The coolest parts about your job is that you get to live like 5 to 10 years in the future and play with these disruptive technologies.
This is like the awesome part of technology, is that, I think in a lot of other fields, you can be doing the same thing for a long period of time, whereas in technology, every once in a while something comes along and just unleashes all these new opportunities, and you need to rethink what you're doing, but it's exciting. And then on the AI side, I think the rate of progress is it's really staggering. I mean, the fact that we went from Llama 2 last summer to Llama 3 now, Llama 2 is not at the state of the art. Llama 3 is pretty close to caught up with the best models that are out there. So and the fact that that's open source and is available to so many people just is unlocking so much awesome stuff. We're starting to work on Llama 4. I'm excited about that. I think that's you just add more modalities into each version. So Llama 3 got more of the kind of image modality and some of the voice and things like that. Llama 4, you'll get a lot more into that, as well as just the ability to do a little more reasoning. So that way, when if you're a creator and you're editing something, you don't need to be kind of so literal in describing what you're doing. You can kind of go back and forth and ask the AI to try some different things, and it'll come back with different ideas.